I want to talk just a little bit about some of the foam cutting tools that I'm using and kind of do a little product update slash review, I guess, of a new foam system that I purchased. This is the old standby. I had this for a while. This is the Woodland Scenics one. Probably everyone's a lot aware of it, or very aware of this. Good tool, very, very useful. I've had it for a while. You can see it's good. It's fine. Really, no issues with it. And I have this other one here with the slightly different angle to allow you to get different angles and stuff. But there are some limitations to this, in that if you're doing like I was doing because of the way freaking backdrop is, you're limited into how much you can angle it if you're trying to cut hills and whatnot. And the wire isn't the heaviest duty in the world, but it works. I've actually no issues with this. About $30 or so. If you see it at Model Train Stuff or Hobby Link or probably even on eBay, I'm sure there's tons of them out there. Not a bad tool. But what I did was I did a little bit of searching, and you'll find these guys on YouTube all over the place. The Hot Wire Foam Factory. I purchased one of their kits, and I'll explain why. I wanted something maybe perhaps a little bit heavier duty, something that gives you a little bit more versatility in cutting the foam. These are really geared. There's some amazing stuff that some of these foam cutters do. Again, model railroaders cutting foam is certainly not the main target for these guys, but I like it. It's a nice little kit. We'll kind of go through what I got, and I used one of the tools to cut the tunnel that I showed in the latest update. So let's just show kind of what we get with this kit. So what I purchased was one of their Pro line kits, and they have several different kits that you can purchase, and I'll show you the tools I decided on and kind of talk about why. They make three different lines. They make a crafter line, what they call a pro line, and then an industrial line. I think the industrial line probably could cut your arm off if you wanted to, but I went with the pro line. The craft line might have worked, I don't know, but I just decided to go with the pro line. You get the instruction manual. Not super detailed, but it's fine. It's enough. It goes through and tells you how to use the different tools. And has some general troubleshooting stuff, but it's pretty simple. This is kind of their line. They have four different size knives. They have two different engravers. They have a probe, which is kind of interesting. 24-inch probe. It's not a knife. It's just I guess just the tip gets hot. They say using it for I don't know if you can read that, for like RC airplane wings, for model train layouts and stuff. Because imagine you have something like this, and that's solid foam, and you're going to put a building here, and you're going to of course want to run lights up to it. Well, there aren't many drill bits that are going to go that deep. You can buy some, I know you can, and I thought about it, but that probe might be interesting because it will just go right through it. Now the knife will as well, because I tried it, so that's probably how I'm going to do it. So this kit, and they have other stuff as well. They have a scroll table, really neat stuff. The website is hotwirefoamfactory.com, HWFF. Go there, take a look. It's really pretty cool. Okay, there you go. So they have the Craft Power line, the Pro Power line. Well, I'm sorry, that's the Craft Power. You need a different power supply if you get the Pro tools. Which I did, because like if you get a Pro kit, you can't use a Craft power supply. I guess probably not enough current. And that shows the industrial one. I've seen some of those before in some other videos, and they make some big honking bow knives too, which just looks pretty cool. And that, man, talk about really doing some serious foam cutting. You get a DVD with it as well, kind of nice, and then of course you get this nice sturdy carrying case as well. So let's take a look at the kit that I purchased. Like I said, I got the Pro, so you get one of the Pro power stations that is multi-heat. 3 different settings there. Actually 4 different settings there. And then at the end, it's just a plug like that. And then the 2 tools that I got were the 6-inch knife. And they're kind of nice, and they have the matching plug that obviously goes into the end of the power feed. I apologize, I'll get that out of the way. And then I got they call a router, which is really pretty freaking cool. Freehand router. Now what this is, and you can see it's kind of shaped like a tunnel portal. Yeah, because that's what I used to cut that block of foam back there. And what's really neat about this is you can form this. I didn't change it because I wanted to show you the way it is now. I'm not sure the best way to show that here on the video. But this is all formable. You can move these. You can form this wire all kinds of different ways. You're doing all kinds of funky stuff, and so it's pretty neat. Pretty versatile, I would say. They don't recommend that you shorten this wire and you use it as is. So that's why I had some of the dips in it to keep the wire length the same. But it's really pretty cool, I think. Let me show it better here against the white background. And like I said, you can shape this any way you want. You can do all kinds of different stuff. I was playing with it and making like a stream bed. You know, trying to form it like you're going to take it out of foam. Or if you're going to put a building in some foam. And I'm not going to do it justice here with one hand and holding the darn camcorder. But, you know, imagine something like that, and then you come along and use that to cut, you know, just say to cut that out. Cut that out. I did buy some extra of the wires because I figured over time, if you're sitting here bending this, at some point in time it's going to break. So I got the extra wires with it, and so that's pretty versatile. Pretty fun. And I did form this again when I was trying to kind of go along on the hill that I made, that unfortunately the Woodland Scenics one just couldn't quite get at. Now that's not formed right, but you can see how you could form that. It gives a little more flexibility in coming along something that's close, like close to the wall, like I have back there. That's how I cut all along there, just because it was so darn close to the wall. And again, nothing against the Woodland Scenics tool, it's fine, it just couldn't get in there. This one could. By forming that wire, I could get in there, and you can see now this is wide open, but you know, I could even form it along here and make some funky shape if I wanted to do some cutting along here, but I formed it to go along the backdrop. So that's pretty handy, pretty neat idea, and a pretty neat tool. Like I said, that's all formable any which way. So let's get one plugged in and see how it works. Okay. I'll try to show this with one hand. Might not be the smoothest thing in the world, but got this one plugged in. It does have an on-off switch on the tool itself. Again, as well as the on-off here on the actual power supply. Have it plugged in. You do get you get a nice amount of cord, so you could really do some serious, you know, places somewhere, and you've got, you know, a good, I don't know, 8 feet or so of this thing that you could use to cut. So I'm gonna let that warm up. It warms up fast, but you can hear some of what I do with the router. I was just playing around. You can see it's not perfect, but I kind of wanted to play, and I kind of like if you're going to put a building in or make a pond or a stream or something. I tried to get real on this one. I'm going to put a building. It's not perfect. I think you need to spend some more time working with the setup of the blade itself to make it really cut something nice. But so for that, I got this plugged in, and it's pretty warm here. I have it on the highest. I've been playing on the highest and second highest setting, and if you just take that bad boy and okay, so now it does get stringy, I think, because this is a denser foam. And one thing they recommend, it might be a little bit too, if you see it smoking like that, to wipe it. So I'm going to wipe that off. It might not show up, but I noticed with the pink, and even the blue type foam, it is stringy. Which, if you read the instructions, they do say it shouldn't be, that the tool shouldn't cause smoke when you're working. And if it is, it might be too hot. So I had played with the settings a little bit, but no matter what I did, they say if you get these strings, it might just because of the denseness of the foam. So I'm not sure. Again, these tools are expected to work with this foam all the time, but that's what it does. Now again, I didn't cut it super fine, but you can see how you get that can almost be a swimming pool or something like that. And again, if you played with it and worked on shaping that, you probably could get it pretty nice. I mean, probably not perfect, but not too bad. I think it's not too bad. So that's an example of what you can do with basically the freehand router, different shapes and whatnot. And of course, for just even just for generic cutting, obviously it's just gonna. So it is relatively. Whoops! See, there's the strings that you get, and no matter what I do, no matter what setting I use, you still get those strings. I think because of the denseness of the foam. But so that's pretty nice. So let's take a look at the knife. So here's the 6-inch knife. Go ahead and turn it on, and you can see it's not super thin. It's definitely got a little bit of heft to it. Again, this probably won't show up all that well, but it is pretty nice. And it might actually be slightly more than 6 inches, to be honest with you. But it's nice, and this gives you a little bit more flexibility. When you're on the layout, it's one thing when I'm showing you here on just a scrap piece of foam. But when you're on the layout and you got to get into certain areas, this proved very useful for some of the foam cutting that I was doing. And again, you could cut shapes with it where you just really couldn't get that type of action with the Woodland Scenics one, but with this knife you can. And again, it's not all that intense, just to show a sample cut, but it goes through this relatively easy. Boom. There's the strings you get. So that is one thing to be aware of. And hold on, I'm just going to clean that off the cloth after you use it. So it's pretty again pretty flexible in the different things you can do with it. And again, I've seen some videos of some I guess more like artists are carving out of foam. Incredible, really cool stuff these people are doing. But again, for our uses, we're probably not going to be all that intense doing some of that kind of stuff, but you might. I mean, who knows? Who knows what you could do if we're going to try to carve tunnel portals or that kind of neat stuff. And again, I'll just kind of, they recommend you just kind of wipe it on the cloth just to get the foam off of it. So pretty darn handy, pretty impressive. Again, I'm not sure I cut all the way through that, but you can see the different type shapes you can cut and everything like that. And I definitely did put it to, especially the this guy here. I put him to pretty serious use. I was max. I was pushing it, really pushing it when I was cutting around, and I kept going through some pretty deep foam and stuff, and it held up. Did okay. Again, like I said, that you might be able to do, since this is all going to be covered over here. Again, if I ever need to, let's say I'm going to put a wire through there. I don't know why I would ever put a wire through there, but so you can see you can poke holes in it. So if I ever do have a farmhouse up there, and again you want to go through a bunch of foam to get your wire leads up, that should do the trick. I think this will. So, but again, if you wanted to, they have that 24-inch probe, which could go through a lot of foam. So I just wanted to show these. Can you turn it off? Pretty nice tools, pretty nice tool set. Now, it's nice, but you're going to pay for it. This particular kit was $149, so it's not a cheap date. But they are relatively heavy duty. You can do some neat things with them. I like kind of the versatility of it. I think it's pretty cool. But again, everyone's different, and some other folks might say that kind of money is just crazy. And I might be crazy because, let's face it, once I get done with the layout, how much more foam cutting am I going to do? But having the right tool can make jobs a lot easier. So I purchased the kit, wanted to try it. I also purchased, because I'm a glutton for punishment, that is basically they call it a sled. And what you can do with that is you can put the tool in there. This is you get these instructions with it. This is the sled glide, and you can see the different things you can do with it. So that could be pretty useful. Again, you could always clamp that to a workbench, and what you do is basically you put the the tool in like that, and you got a nice straight blade. So if you had it set up on a workbench like that, and you wanted to cut a certain piece, so you had it set like that, and then you could have it go down, whatever, and you could move it along to cut it. If you had a guide rail for it, kind of like a router table somewhat, kind of like a bandsaw. Different things you could do with it. If you clamped it on your workbench that way, or like that, and had your tool sticking up, and you wanted to bring a piece of foam in and do some cutting. Again, not that as model railroaders we do a lot of that, but you might. So I purchased that as well to have it, since I was buying everything at once. So that is the Hotwire Foam Factory Pro Kit. And again, you can buy them with different tools. You can pick some with knives and engravers and different size knives with the router, or a knife with a sculpting tool, which is these move. So this is kind of like the Woodland Scenics one, but it's not quite as flexible. It's just a single length of wire, and the freehand router's got heavier duty wire, and you can shape it. So that's why I went with the 6-inch knife and the router. But you can set up different kits for whatever you might want to do. So hey, check it out. Check out their website. There's tons of videos on these guys on YouTube. I'm certainly not the first person to have a video on them, but I wanted to show just a little bit, from a model railroader's perspective, the kind of things we might use it for. Cutting out for mounting buildings, for streams. You could use this, back in here. If you shape that, and you want to put a stream, you could, very easily, hand cut a stream in there. You can still do it with knives and Sureform tools and rasps, but that's a lot messier. Can be done, no problem with it. But again, with this tool and the ability to shape it, I thought it was kind of neat. And you could take it and you could gouge out, basically cut out, your stream or something like that. Or if you wanted to get in and do some fancy cutting in here, where just because of the shape and the configuration of like the Woodland Scenics tool, you just couldn't get in there. Well, with this, you can do a lot of work to shape it. Oops, sorry about that. I keep forgetting I got a camcorder in my hand. To shape that wire however you might want to, to cut it. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. And this thing's pretty sturdy. But now you cut through something like that, it's gonna push the tool when you start going through 4 inches or so of foam, and you're in there and you're cutting it. It's gonna be slow. But it will do it. It will cut through it. So I found it to be a very useful tool. Like I said, I used it pretty much all around from down there. You can see how close it is to the backdrop there. So I formed it and was able to actually cut that at a steep angle, but at an angle. And then around there, I pretty much just used the Sureform tool and the rasp. But then along here, all along there, all on the back, I did use that, and it took a while, but it did it. It did it pretty nice. So all in all, with the different attachments you can get with it and everything, and then a fancy little DVD, which I haven't looked at yet. Looks like fun. Not a bad set. So again, you might want to give it some consideration, or check out their website, or check out other videos from these guys. All these guys, some pretty creative people out there carving stuff out of foam that I never would have thought of. But I just wanted to give it a quick product update. I can recommend the tool. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth the money. Others might not, but I consider it a worthwhile investment for what we're going to be doing. So there you go. So anybody else has any other thoughts, leave a comment. I then recommend you go to their website, take a look, and see if it might be something you might want to consider for your model railroading toolkit.